Redditors who worked in retail. What are your, you can't make this up, stories? Target, we have a code yellow for missing kids. Whole team drops what they are doing and we all help. Usually child is found within minutes. One case on a slow night, the missing boy, 10, could not be found. Parent is frantic and getting more frantic. Would he have gone to the car on his own? I offer. Which got me screamed at about he would never, and he's been kidnapped and I'm not taking things seriously. He had gone out to the car on his own. Best Buy. Lady comes in with a 10% off coupon and asks me how much it'll get her off on an $80 antenna. I explain $8, to which she is surprised, and angrily picks the $50 one. While ringing her up, she asks why the antenna is $45, and when I explain how 10% off works again, she replies, "I thought you said $8. I once accidentally locked a pregnant woman in the store to take my break. I was working the store in the mall alone and we had just had a rush. Everyone cleared out, I locked the gate to take my dinner break. When I came back 15 minutes later, a security guard was trying to figure out how to get her out. Apparently she was in the fitting rooms and I didn't realize it. She was so mad, naturally, and let me know she was going to complain to corporate. I called my manager after she left to own up to my mistake before she heard from the customer. Later the customer called me after she calmed down and let me know she wasn't going to tell on me and asked me to be more careful next time. The manager let me go the next day due to my own admission. Had a lady come in, disgusted at the state of the store. She was on her hands and knees looking under the racking. She left and came back with plastic bags, gloves, a mask, and cooking tongs. She proceeded to start pulling dust bunnies out from under the permanent racking. She asked for a broom, to which I politely obliged. End of the day, store closing, I walked her out and thanked her for bringing this to our attention. Never saw her again. Manager called me an asshole for letting her go on like that. She wasn't bugging anyone and she seemed calmer the more she did this. The whole thing went on for about 3 hours. I worked at a Ross clothing store in high school. I smelled something foul at closing time and started tracking it down. Someone had gone in the middle of the very long pants rack and taken a giant dump. I told my boss, who asked me to clean it up. I told him that I am a minor and it's against the rules of my work permit. I had no idea if it was against the rules, but he believed me and left a note for the cleaning crew to clean it up. Editing to add that I once was out at a bar with some coworkers about 6 years ago and the single guy in the group started chatting up some girls at the bar. I overheard one of them tell him that she worked for Ross HQ. I couldn't wait to tell her my story. Probably ruined my coworkers' chances though. In college, I worked for a locally owned dollar store. We had no public restroom, but there was a McDonald's across the street we always directed people to. One night, an elderly lady comes in asking if we have a restroom. I told her no and that McDonald's across the street did. She just says okay and disappeared into one of the aisles. I go back to what I'm doing, and about a minute later, she left like her hair was on fire. Checked that aisle and yep, pissed right on our carpeted floor. Working at a sports bar, restaurant, there was a little office party going on and the boss ended up biting an employee's earlobe off. We found the earlobe outside the next day, earring still in it, and gave it to the police. Worked at a liquor store. Had a guy come in, so drunk when he got there, that he fell out of his lifted truck and bashed his face open on the curb. A customer came running in and said there's someone bleeding in the parking lot, so my manager and I went out to check. He was absolutely hammered, no clue how he successfully drove there. Anyways, after getting blood all over me and my manager, he told us he wanted to sleep it off in his car. At noon on a Saturday at 95 degrees Fahrenheit. He got arrested. Edit. Another story. The gas station next to us got robbed. Not the usual holdup, no, this was an inside job. They came at 3 a.m. with a saw and cut out the back wall where the safe was bolted, and hooked it up to a truck and yanked that bitch out and drove off. As far as I know, they never solved it. We had an employee whose daughter died. We sent her flowers, gave her time off, told her to come back when she was ready, etc. She then came back a few weeks later working shortened hours with a support friend by her side. She soon got fired for letting the support friend use the services for free. A couple months later she came in as a customer and her daughter, that had died, was sitting in the car playing on an iPad. We called her out immediately, it was awkward. A customer once refused to buy granola from me because I'm not vegan. The granola was vegan, but I, a salesperson who had nothing to do with making it, was not. They said it was against their morals. 20 years back I was working at Walmart and someone asked me to hold a ladder so they could change the pricing on the sign. This was suspended over the photo center. Well, as he went to change a number, the hook or whatever holding it up let go. The entire sign made out of heavy metal and plastic smashed me right in the face. Somehow missed my nose and I was left with an inch gash above my upper lip and a tear on the right side, that of my nose where it's like connected. I have scars now. The hour person asked me to come in a few days later to sign paperwork so I could return to work when I was better, and it was a return to work form. They bait and switched me and had me back working several days later with stitches still in my face and my lip swollen like a golf ball. Fuck Walmart. I worked as a supervisor in a 24-hour convenience store. One night a coworker's mom came in drunk and threatened to slit two of our throats because her daughter was a terrible worker who needed to be prompted to do even the most simple of daily tasks, so she had started getting told off frequently. The daughter quit the following day and her mother was permanently trespassed. Worked Aeropostale at local mall in college. Woman brought in recently purchased panties for return. Pulled them out of retail bag and laid them on register counter. All of them had been periodied on. I was speechless and completely froze. She broke the silence by triumphantly pulling the receipt from the bag saying, "Oh, I didn't even realize this was in here." Receipt had been periodied on as well. I switched to back stockroom duty after that. Worked at a pet store and a dude brought in a dead fish and demanded that I, 17-year-old kid, tell him how his fish died. If that wasn't funny enough, a bystander rescued me by asking, "Don't you have a fish autopsy kit?" It was funny enough to get the dead fish dude to leave me alone. Worked at Barnes & Noble. Two real bro-wide dudes wearing my old high school lacrosse uniforms came in. They're talking loud, laughing loud. They head back to use the bathroom. I happen to go in about a minute later. To the wet, lotiony sounds of these two dudes in one stall aggressively whacking each other off, grunting and shit. 5 minutes later they leave. Talking loud, laughing loud.